Alright, it's time to do some maintenance on the Ariens Snow Blower, and I've had this snow blower for 3 years and I've used it for 2 seasons. 1 year we didn't get anything worth using it for, and I bet I have less than 20 hours on it. The maintenance schedule is to change the spark plug once a year and to change the oil every 6 months. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not getting out here in July and changing the oil in my snowblower. So anyway, I'm going to inspect the spark plug and change the oil in that order. In that way, if I put a new spark plug in there, and then I can start it up, make sure it runs okay, everything's all right there, and then that'll warm up the oil. The instructions are to let it run for 2 minutes before changing the oil. So I can't even pull the wire off the spark plug, so what I need to do is remove the exhaust, I should say the muffler cover, and then I'll remove the carburetor cover here and see how that goes. So for the exhaust cover, I have 1 screw here and 2 on the front, and I'll be using a 10mm socket. Oops, I missed one. It's much easier when you take all the screws out. So as you can see, the spark plug boot still cannot come off, so I'll remove this cover here, and looks like 4 more screws. Alright, let's see what that reveals. Okay, let me get these knobs off of here. My body panel tool. Now let's see what we have here. Alright, well that seems easy enough. So I have the primers connected down here. I could probably disconnect that. Yeah, it looks easy enough to disconnect. And then I have the ignition switch here, but actually I'm going to call that good enough because I can see plenty of cable and I'm sure I can get the boot off. Alright, that makes life a whole lot easier. Just pop that right off with my hand in the way of the camera. And now we can access the spark plug, if I can get a spark plug socket down there. If not, I'll have to remove this shield right here. Alright, I decided to remove the shield. It just makes it even more fun to reassemble here. And remember, you can always take pictures before you disassemble so you know how it goes back together. So we'll just move that out of the way. And now we'll figure out which spark plug socket will fit it. Okay, I have all these fancy spark plug sockets, but my little cheapy little press stamp spark plug removal tool seems to be the best one to use under these circumstances. I'll see why I was having trouble with it after I get it out. So I don't know why those other sockets wouldn't go down on top of there. The valve cover here was in the way a little bit, where this one is kind of neck down. So I've had that issue on cars before too. So let's see what they had in here. So they had a Torch F6R TC The manual lists all kinds of different spark plugs if you prefer NGK or Champion or whatever, they list them all. And there's about 20 hours of operation right there. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, spark plugs anymore. They emphasize strongly that the gap needs to be between 28 and 30 mils. So 0.028 to 0.030 inches. So my spark plug socket just had an extremely small hole in there for the stem, so it's 13/16 for this brand. Would have barely gone on there, and I don't see this. It's either screwed down really tight or it's not a screw on at all. So that was the deal. I could have used just a 13/16 socket. I've used sockets before. So just to let you know, it is metric. I have a M6x1, and of course when I go on camera it's more difficult to screw it in, but there you go, M6x1. So it's definitely metric hardware. So there's the carburetor. If you ever have to clean the carburetor, there's a drain right here too. If you ever want to drain it, looks like you could get to that without removing anything. You just have to look up from the bottom. It's kind of hidden from view when the cover's on. So, and I guess you could take the cover off by just removing the vacuum hose here. And that seems to be about it. I don't see where this ignition wire goes. It's buried in there somewhere, so you would have to disconnect it from the switch here if you wanted to remove that. They unplug. You just pull them out. They have 90s. The terminals are 90-degree clip-ons. So that looks pretty easy if you ever have to clean a carburetor, which I imagine you will. Note there's no air filter, so there's no air filter change. I must have read 4 or 5 times in the manual that this is for cold weather only, so this is not to be run in hot weather or in the summertime. And I just see a little bit of dirt and stuff here, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's got about 20 hours on it. So I'm going to install a new spark plug, put it all back together, warm it up, and then change the oil. Alright, let's get the new one in now. I use NGK, so that's going to be the new NGK ones. These were Torch F6 RTC, and I'm using NGK BPR6ES. Alright, I checked the gap and it's right at 30, so I'm not going to bump it down to 27. I'll just leave it where it is. And tighten it up. Alright, so what a pain in the butt. I took the black center out of the socket so that it would fit better. And tighten down. Alright, we'll get the spark plug back on there. Get this back on here. This back on. Alright, get these 4 screws back on. Alright, now the top. lid here. Alright, so there we have it. So the arrow points over to the start and run over here, and the choke points over to the rabbit and turtle over here. So we got rabbit and turtle for the choke, and start and run for the gas. Okay, with the spark plug in place, we're going to run it for a couple minutes and then we will change the oil. Okay, here we are all back, and it says to use a 12 to hold it and a 16 to open it. So we'll just okay. Now it really only holds like a quart. So it's not leaking or anything, so just let it run out. Alright, we'll just put it back on. Alright, just move this out of the way here and fill it back up. Alright, so 1 quart going in, and 1 quart is not much at all. Alright, a little more. And that's it. Alright, we're ready to go snow blowing. Alright, now I just can't wait for it to snow so I can go snow plowing.